Good day, parents, and welcome to Saving Grace Education. In today's video, I'll be taking you through our assessment process at Saving Grace Education and giving parents as well as students just an indication of what to expect if you are enrolled at Saving Grace Education in terms of our assessment process. So our assessment process is flexible in the sense that students log in and write their assessments only once they have completed the term's work. So when you have completed the term's work and you are now ready to write your assessments, you don't have to write the assessment at one go. If you've completed maths, for example, for term 2, you can go in and write your maths. If you completed English, you can go in and write your English. So you can complete the assessments as you complete the curriculum. But in this instance, for example, we will be doing a term 2 quiz, which will be for natural science. So this is a mid-year natural science assessment. So once the student has logged into the system, they need to ensure that they have Zoom. Zoom must be downloaded into your laptop. The student needs to share their screen while they are writing the assessment so that we can see who's writing the assessment. So they need to turn on their camera so we can see who's writing the assessment. And they also need to share their screen so we can see their computers while they are writing the assessment. So you just go into the quiz for the subject that you want to write, and then you can click on Take Quiz. All right, so you'll see that there were instructions. For example, it told us that it's 40 marks and 60 minutes. All right, so when you go into the assessment, you'll see that there are 32 questions that needs to be completed. You have the option to hide at the time. If you are somebody who's prone to anxiety and you want to release some stress, you can then hide time. Or if you are comfortable, you can show the time so that you can see when, how you are doing with time and when your time is almost done. Right, so you'll see that there are 32 questions that I need to get through for this assessment. So then you can go ahead and take your assessment. So we'll start our assessment with question 1. We'll go through all our questions, and then at the end, we'll click submit. So what term is used for the transfer of heat? For the purposes of this assessment, I'm going to try and answer this assessment as quickly as possible, just so that we can then obviously submit the assessment and ensure that this video is not longer than necessary. All right, so students obviously can read the assessment. Their camera will be turned on and their screen will be on share, just so that we are able to see who's writing the assessment. Once the student has completed their assessment and submitted it, their teachers will get a notification that John or Mary or whoever the student is, that they have submitted their assessment. And then the teachers will be able to then go into the system, and then they can grade the assessment. All right, so we complete our assessment. We're reading the questions. We choose the right answer, or we complete the right answer. And then we're gonna get ready to submit pretty soon. We're on question 11 currently. I'm trying to work through it. And then we'll click submit. I'm going to leave out question 16. And let's leave out question 17 as well. We're going to leave out question 20. Students are encouraged not to do this, obviously, because any answer is better than nothing. At least if you answer, there's hope of half a mark or a mark there somewhere. But when you don't enter anything, it's an automatic 0. So please always try and answer, because you never know, you might just have the right answer. All right, we're almost there. Remember, this paper has 32 questions. So we are almost there. We're going to leave out question 24. Question 25, let's go with a true. Question 26, let's choose a false this time. Question 27, and then question 28. Question 29. And question 30. Almost there, question 31, we're going to leave out. And question 32, which is the first option. All right, so once the student has come to the end of the assessment, you will see that there's an option to submit the quiz. All right, so you'll remember that at the top hand corner, there was a list of all the questions. You'll see before you submit that every question that has been answered will have a tick, and any question that has not been answered will have a question mark. So if a student is reviewing their paper before they submit, they can then see that they haven't answered a specific question. They can go back and try and answer that question. And then, they can go back and try and answer all the unanswered questions. Once they are satisfied and they are ready to submit their assessment, they can then go ahead and click Submit Assessment. It will tell you that if you haven't answered all the questions, you have 5 unanswered questions. Are you sure you want to submit it anyway? If you're not sure, you want to try and go back, maybe you've just remembered something, you can click Cancel. But if you're ready to submit, then you can click OK, and then you will see that it will get submitted and it will go through to the teachers for grading. All right. If a student submits the assessment, if the student does not finish the assessment in time and the 60 minutes or the time allocation is completed, the system will automatically submit the assessment through to you. And then, as you've seen, if you do have enough time, you can submit it yourself if you haven't finished the 60 minutes. But you'll see in this case that it tells me that I completed this assessment in 6 minutes and I got 30 out of 40. Remember, this is the initial marking by the computer. The teacher will now get a notification that I've submitted my assessment, and they will then go in and mark every single question just to make sure that the computer has allocated marks correctly, because sometimes, there might be a spelling error, but the teacher can still make out what you're trying to say. They can then, award you a mark, whereas the computer would not award you that mark because your answer didn't match the memo. So that's why it's very important, and that's why all of our teachers grade every single assessment from grade R all the way up until grade 9 across all of our curriculums, just so that we make sure that, our students' assessments have been marked fairly and correctly. All right. You will see that once you've submitted the assessment, it will give you the correct answer with explanations. So for questions that students have gone wrong or have gotten wrong, they can then go ahead and review the assessment, just to make sure then that they learn from this and see where they have gone wrong and what the correct answer should have been. And even for answers that are correct, for example, this question 19, even though it was correct, it will still give you the explanation, just so that you can learn from that as well. So this is a good tool for students to use to, to serve as revision and just as a learning process in general. So remember that once this has been submitted, the teachers will get a notification. They will then mark it, and then the student will get another notification saying that your assessment has been graded and you can now view your final marks. And then that will be now your final marks once the teachers have marked it and we've, that human element has taken place. So this is our assessment process across Saving Grace Education. So regardless of whether you are doing the CAPS curriculum, the Cambridge curriculum, our special needs curriculum, or even the remedial CAPS program, regardless of which curriculum you are on, this is what you can expect in terms of the platform that you will use to write your assessment, and in terms of just the structure and how, things are done and when you can write the assessment and all of that. You'll see a reminder that the assessment has no due date, and this is so that the assessment is available for students to write the assessment at a time that's convenient for them. So if you choose to write your assessment over the weekend, maybe a Saturday or Sunday morning, or whatever the case may be, you then do not need to request access because there's no due date. that assessment will be available to you at any time throughout the academic year for you to log in and write your assessments when you're ready. Remember that I said that the crucial thing when a student is writing an assessment, particularly for our students who are not at a tutor center, if you are at a tutor center, obviously then the teachers there will serve as invigilators. Because they are independent, they can invigilate you. But if you are writing at home and you are being homeschooled at home and not at a tutor center, then it's very important that you make sure that you download Zoom, that your camera is on so that we can see who you are while you're writing your assessment, and that your screen is shared so that we can see what you are doing while you are writing your assessment. So that's it from me for our assessment process at Saving Grace Education. We hope to welcome you and your child soon at Saving Grace Education. If you have any questions, please feel free to email us on any of our platforms, and we will see you guys hopefully soon joining the Saving Grace Education family. Goodbye.